Sometimes when you're trying to find an answer to a certain question, you resort to search engines. And they are brilliant at finding out pretty much anything that you want to know. But when you're searching for one thing in particular, sometimes you don't get the answer that you want, or at least not for quite a while and a lot of searching. But sometimes word of mouth can be your best friend. And we've just had a little bit of news today which is going to really make a big difference to us being in this caravan. You'll all know by now our situation. Being evicted, pretty much forced to buy a static caravan to tide us over. And it was basically that, or homeless. I know which I prefer, so that's why we bought this caravan. Just to give us time to rethink a situation. There's nothing you can do about a Section 21 eviction notice. If the landlord wants to sell, that's you out the door. So we've been here a few weeks now, and you've seen the previous videos. We're trying to make this place as nice as possible. We know that we can't stay here continuously. That's not allowed because it's non-residential. So you have to be out of the caravan for a set amount of times through the year. You can, however, come back then. But you can't be permanently living in a static caravan if the site's non-residential. And I thought I'd point that out again because I think a few people might have missed the point of that. But for the meantime, we've been alright. We've just stuck our heads together and decided exactly how we wanted to make this caravan work. So we bought lots of new fitments, new nets, we're decorating, all the usual stuff you do if you moved into a new house. But all the time we was thinking about the time we have to be away and where we're going to go. And it was mentioned by somebody on a previous video that if you go away from the van and you stay with relatives, there might come a point where they don't want you there. Not everybody can get on all the time. I don't think there's a problem with family, and we have got really good friends. Unfortunately, they're quite a long way from where we are at the moment. So when it comes to things like work, you're causing yourself quite a trip and more expense. You're also causing yourself extra expense because you can't just live with somebody and not give them some money. That wouldn't be right. Your only other alternative to doing that is to rent B&Bs and places like that, travel lodge, wherever you can get accommodation. They say that in winter time, hotels around this area are very cheap. And because they haven't got much in the way of trade, they will do you some really good deals. But if you want to stay away for a bit longer, because we're still toying with this fact of what is going to happen in winter. We've heard quite a lot of horror stories about just how cold these caravans get. And that's why at the moment we're taking steps to get it set up the best way that we can. We're going to get a couple of panel heaters, we're going to get extra rugs. I've just ordered some thermal curtains, that's going to keep some warmth in. But if comes a time, it's not quite enough, because you never know in UK, it could drop down to -7 or -8. It's not like it's not dropped down to -6. So that is going to make this place very cold. And then we're going to be using lots and lots of gas as well, which is going to cost even more money. So after thinking about it, we decided we need to have a backup plan. And we just happened to have dropped on one. We was talking to a guy in the local pub, and it just so happens that he's got a friend who's a friend of somebody we've already met, which is brilliant, and he's got a couple of apartments that he rents out, and one is currently sat empty because the people have just left. So I've had a word with this guy, and he's gave me a deal for a 6-month period to start with, which I can only refer to as cheap as chips. It's only a 1-bed place, but it has got its own bathroom and toilet. That's pretty much all you need. It's basically like a little apartment or bed sit or whatever you call them. But for the price he's going to charge me, it's well worth doing. So we've got a place now where we can have all as mail sent, because sometimes it can be a bit of a problem, especially when you're applying for things like a driving licence or passports. You've got to have a proper address for things like that. And we have got friends who we can use as a care of address as well. Unfortunately, they're right at the other end of country, so it's not like we can just drive there and pick us mail up. So this seemed to me to be a really good option, and also quite an exciting one, to have this already paid for and set up for a year while we're slowly trying to winterise it, and another little apartment off-site. It is quite a few miles away, but it's not that it's not doable. So I decided that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to rent this apartment, so when we do need to be away from this van, we've got somewhere set up, ready to go to. We have got quite a lot of those bags that you stick an hoover on and it pulls all air out and squashes everything really flat. So now we can get rid of a few of those off the top of that wardrobe, and we can leave things there that we're not using, like everybody does when you get from summer to winter. You're no longer bothered about your t-shirts and shorts. So things like that can be stored there, and we'll just keep the essentials at this place. So that's just given us a perfect opportunity. We aren't having to drive from one place to another, burden friends or family, pay for hotels, bed and breakfasts and places like that. We can just have a little cheap place already set up for when we need it. But that don't mean I'm not going to spend as much time here as I possibly can, because we've invested in this place and I really do like the area. And also, I need to take that winter challenge. There's no way I'm backing out of that now. Loads and loads of people have said you'll not survive winter. I thought that were a little bit extreme, but that is what they said. They say it's so cold that sometimes the gas bottles can freeze. And I think that's the difference between two different types of gas, whether it's propane or butane. I know one freezes quicker than the other. We haven't yet lagged all the pipes underneath the van and all those little jobs that need doing, because you don't really want to be thinking about that when it's supposed to be summer, even though approaching the middle of July the weather's still rubbish, but those jobs still need doing before autumn. So we're going to be here doing what we've always been doing and making improvements, and we'll document everything as we do it, and then we're going to have a little bit of time away, then more time back here, and we're going to see how we get on with it. We've still got to sort out how much this gas is going to cost us, and just to give you a heads up, that gas canister we was talking about the other day still hasn't run out, which is brilliant. It's been going since 5th of May. We've not received his electric bill yet, but apparently they're being sent out shortly, so I'll also update you on that. But it's like having a burden lifted off your shoulders, to think that what if somebody that we're relying on happens to be busy at the time we need to go to them. And I'm not the sort of person who doesn't like to know what he's doing and where he's going from one week to the next. So by doing what we've just done, that is going to sort all those problems out. As mail's sorted, excess clothing that we don't really need, that's sorted. Being away from the van when we need to be away, that's all sorted as well. I'm still not going to be paying for a TV licence though, because there's no way I'm paying for something that I don't watch. To me, that's like somebody walking past you in a supermarket and dropping a loaf of brown bread in your trolley when you don't like brown bread, but they insist you're going to have it anyway. And that's what that is to me. I don't watch TV programmes. I just find them a little boring. So if you're going to pay for things like Sky, Netflix and Amazon Prime, or whatever it's called, why would you also want to be paying for something on top that you don't use? One good thing is the internet that we've got in this van is mobile internet. So basically you can just take that wherever you want. You don't have to unplug anything except that router. It's already all set up because it uses the mobile network. So when we are away from this van, we just take that little box with us and we're all set up for internet. So I find it quite exciting to now be in a position, after the horrible situation that we went through, to be a little bit more in control at the moment. The guy says he will let us rent that for the next 6 months, which takes us somewhere up to January or February, but he said he may extend it, but he can't 100% guarantee at the moment because of other circumstances that he's not sorted out yet. But fingers crossed, he might extend it for us, and hopefully at the same price. So it's once again back to small space living. But to be honest with you, this place is a lot smaller than this. So once again, downscaling, but only for a short while. So we're still carrying on with all the things that we need to get done in this van. We're still going to be taking trips out here and there and documenting that, just so we can see bits and bobs in area that I've probably not seen before, and I think there is quite a few. And if you've got an holiday home anywhere, that's the best place to be through summer, as rubbish as summer has been so far. In autumn, we'll be back and forth in to that other place and getting that properly set up. And then in winter, we are going to take that challenge. I'm not one to back out of anything. So, however long we're allowed to stay in this van through winter is exactly what I'm going to do, come what may. And if we have to pop out at any point and buy things to make it more comfortable, then that's what we'll do. But between now and then, we're just going to carry on doing what we're doing and utilising as many ideas as we can come up with to make this fully winterised, apart from central heating, because it is double glazed, it's just not central heated. And I've already looked into prices having that job done, and it's way too expensive for me for a van at this age anyway. So thank you very much for everybody's comments and suggestions, saying what we really need to do to keep it fully winterised. Make sure that we're warm. And I thought one that was particularly good was someone said, try concentrating on keeping yourself warm and not eating the van, which sounds perfectly feasible to me. Anyway, thank you so much for being on board this channel. I really do appreciate it, and I appreciate all your support and all your comments. And it's just great to know at this stage, only a few weeks later on, we're now in a position where we've got rid of another worry that we've had since we got here. That's now all sorted, so we're moving on, we're moving forward, but more importantly, we're moving up. So if you're interested in seeing more videos in future, please hit that subscribe button, press that notifications bell, and I'll see you next time. Take care.